Same concept. All right.
Okay.
The difference is the slack here is very, very minimal. There's not a lot.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So align your sights. Make contact. Press.
No. Hey, everyone. I'm Mrs. Trouble. And today we have none other than a special guest that is making changes in others' lives just because someone actually helped her through her crisis. Now she's dedicated her time to paying it forward. And her name is Miss Maritza Gabriel of Enough Crime. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited that you have invited me today.
I'm so happy too. I mean, getting you out here today was definitely a accomplishment because I know that you had a little bit apprehensive about using the firearms that were a little bit more than the caliber that you're used to shooting.
Right.
And so it was really interesting to see how you actually just got in there and handled it just fine. So I was excited about that.
I'm surprised myself, but one thing about even if it's intimidating me, I like to always push myself to the challenge just to make sure that I was not able to do it or prove myself wrong, like you actually did it.
That's great.
So I thank you guys for allowing me to push myself to something different, something bigger.
Yes. And from what I seen, you were actually handling everything great. Your accuracy was great. Your control was great. And so I just really enjoyed seeing you do this because I was so excited. I was like so happy I was able to witness you doing that.
It was exciting to me too. I'm surprised. I handled the rifle.
Yes.
I never shot one. So to actually have one in my hand, it was a little intimidating, but I got through it.
Understandable. The thing is, people have to understand with rifles, they look intimidating, but if you know what you're doing, once you understand the stance, the holes, everything about that, then you're good to go. Right. I mean, really. The shotgun is maybe a little bit more intimidating because of how loud it is too, but the thing is, whatever it is you put in your hand, you have the skills already to use it and use it well. So I know the comfort is not there yet, but whenever you're ready to approach that, you have great instructors to be able to help you along the way.
And I would agree with that. Like Monique was very precise in her directions and how to hold and how to take a deep breath. That's something I didn't know. Take a deep breath, and once you let it out, just then go with it. Yes. I'm always holding my breath, and that's probably why I was not confident enough, because once you breathe in and let it out, it's just like, okay, now you can do it.
Yes.
So it matters to have good instructors to walk you through it and give you that confidence.
You're right about that. Definitely. So the resilience that you show towards this is definitely an example of the resilience you have in your own life.
Exactly.
So I love the fact of you taking your own struggle and pain and you're putting it into an organization that's going to help others through their struggle and pain to get them through it. So that's immediately when I met you, I was like, oh yes, I need to have her as a guest on the show. And I was like, this is, I mean, you don't come across someone like you every day. Whereas someone who has gone through things that you've gone through and survived it, that's one, you're a survivor. And then to pay it forward. You don't have very many people saying, hey, I'm going to reach back to these people who haven't made it through the struggle and I'm going to pull them out of it as well. So that is something that was just really dear to my heart when I met you. And I was like, I got to know this lady a little bit more.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So I know you were telling me, if you don't mind kind of walking the audience through what it is that happened, maybe a little snippet that caused you to say, okay, I got to get out of this situation that I'm in right now.
Right. So I will start with, I'm originally a New Yorker. And I fell in love with my high school sweetheart. And I didn't see him for years until maybe 10 years after I graduated. The love of my life, sweet as it can be. But in the process of it, I was living a lifestyle that I know I should not be living. And I was in a bad area where it was drug infested. A lot of crime was going on. And I got caught up in that lifestyle with my partner. And as I realized that I cannot live that lifestyle, that's not what I was taught. I tried to get out, and that's when my whole life went into a 360. So the abuse began, the insecurities, the jealousy began, and it just spiraled down. And I almost lost my life. I tried to commit suicide because I didn't see a way out. But at this point, I had 3 kids, and I will say they were my reason to live. I didn't see it back then because it's just like when you're in a dark place, you just can't see a way out. And when I really sat back to analyze my life, and it's like, you know what, this is what matters to me the most. And that was what gave me the courage to leave that situation and start my life completely over with 1 paycheck, 3 kids, and come to a brand new place and leave everything behind.
You go, girl. I mean, I am a mom of 4, and I can tell you that that was definitely a big stride.
Yeah, it was not easy. I tell people when I speak to people and try to help people out of the situation, I'm like, this is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of crying, a lot of hunger, because the minimum money that you have for food, you're wanting to feed your kids first.
Especially these prices of food these days. Oh my gosh.
So it was a lot of nights that I ate their leftover food when they didn't finish in their plate. And I scooped it and put it on my plate, and that was my dinner.
Yeah.
But I was okay with it because I knew we had a safe place to rest our heads.
Peace of mind is everything, and safety is everything, honestly. Yeah, that makes a big difference right there. I'm glad the girls had a chance to see you also stand up for yourself enough to say, I'm getting me and us out of this.
Right.
You guys are not going to be brought up this way. Because so many others they're not afforded that. They have to grow up with seeing mom and dad go through whatever mom and dad goes through. And you were able to say, hey, look, no, this is not going to happen. Not for me, not for my girls.
Right.
And you sacrificed everything and just start over. I know they appreciate the heck out of you for that, though.
They do. They do.
As a kid, they may not have understood, huh?
Right. No, but now that they're adults and they have a life of their own, like they see the sacrifice that a mother has to do for their child. So without thinking, I didn't do it for that. You know, I didn't do it to be how my daughter always says. She's like, you know, I just idolize you and I want to be just like you. And I always tell them, no, just be better than me. You know, make better choices. And it all comes down, like, if you don't have a self-esteem and you don't know your worth, you settle for any kind of love. And that's one of the things that I try to teach our youth, to love themselves first. Learn what they're worth and take it from there. Like, don't get that love just from anybody and accept it.
Right. That's true. Not all attention is good attention.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely truth. And it definitely comes from that self-image. I know even with my girls, I'm always like trying to instill in them, like, just love who you are as you are. Like, all this enhancing, like doing this makeup, or, you know, even with fake hair, fake nails, things like that, like, just don't need it, you know? And that's one of the things I want them to, like, just love who they are.
Right. They don't need it. They don't need it. But it's good to enhance it sometimes.
Exactly.
You know, but be your natural self and love the natural.
And be okay if you're not if you're not going to have those enhancements. And that's my biggest thing with them. Like, growing up, you know, I wasn't really into makeup. I'm still not.
Right.
But my daughters are. And they're like concerned about every little blemish on their face. And then they also have the ability of growing up in a society where they have all these different race of people that they're growing up with. I grew up with all Black people.
Right.
Like, I had no other races around me, so nobody else to compare to besides, you know, somebody who probably looks similar to me.
Right.
But them, around 5 years old, I feel like each and every last one of them, now my 5-year-old now is going through this. they all had this self-image issue where it's like, oh, my skin is a bit darker, or my hair is, you know, really curly because I have an afro. And but my friends' hair, who are, you know, Hispanic or white, and their hair is like straight, and I want my hair like that. And I'm like, okay, we can do that. Whoop, no problem. Straighten it, boom. But then it goes right back to whew. So
because that's the natural you.
Exactly. So this whole image of self is really important from day one with them. And that's something that I really work really hard to make sure that they understand and know to love themselves. So my two oldest, I'm proud to say, I believe that they are happy in their own skin these days.
Right.
So that's really good, because it took a while for the hair situation. It really did. But my 5-year-old now, I'm starting to see some things where I'm like, okay, let's pay attention to that.
Yeah, that was my youngest daughter.
Yeah.
She's mixed, so her hair is really, really curly. And I had to always be blow drying and blow drying and blow drying. And at that time, it was relaxers. And I was relaxing my daughter's hair at the age of probably 7. I mean, and I used to always tell her, I said, you know, you have beautiful hair.
Right.
People pay to get curly hair. And she's like, nope, I want it to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that even as she got to probably high school, she started embracing her curls, and
that's good.
Now everybody has a curly hair, natural look, and
they get wigs, they get extensions, all these things to have the curly. Oh my gosh, yes. I love my curly fro. I do.
It's nothing like embracing your natural beauty. So
yes,
and that's what I try to teach, mentor the kids, because I do volunteer work at the Boys and Girls Club, and that's one of the things that I teach them, and I try to be really firm with that. Love yourself, embrace you, because there's no one like you. People can imitate you, but they can't duplicate you.
That's right.
So always embrace you.
That makes perfect sense. I love it. So definitely, I hear voluntary work coming from you. So I know that you volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club. I know that the police calls you even for helping them for things. So what does that look like in a life for Enough Cries for volunteer work?
So I am a mentor at the Boys and Girls Club. I mentor the young girls. I also work with a program that helped me a lot when I moved from New York here. They helped me with the mattresses, food pantry, clothing, Christmas presents. And every county has a facility like ACTS. It's ACTS.
Okay.
And they help women that are survivors in domestic violence or sexual assault. And we place them in a different location until they find a safe home.
Okay.
I've been volunteering there for about 8 years now. And the reason why I volunteer there is because, like I said, that was the first place I went to for help. And I always told myself, when I'm able, I want to go back to the person in the organization that helped me. So I volunteer with the sexual assault department. And when there is a report made, the police department will call me, and we meet the police department at the hospital and do a forensic examination.
Wow.
So I'm able to help another victim.
Okay, let me just point out how, I mean, this is some heavy stuff. You yourself being a victim of circumstances like these things.
Right.
And then you put yourself in a place to go and say, this person's going through something similar to I, and I'm going to go and help them regardless of how much this makes me reflect or feel of my past experiences.
Right.
That's big. When I say,
well, that was my
big,
healing. That's my healing. And that's how when I started my organization, I'm not going to say I was healed completely. When God told me to start this organization, and my first reaction was, I'm not healed. I still have triggers. And how can I help someone else?
Yeah.
But as I continued helping women and finding the resources, I realized that it was helping me heal. So I dove in completely. I said, hey, if this is what's going to help me heal and get over everything and move on with my life, I just dove in. And that's why everything I do is based on that and what I've been through and what has triggered me. And I'm able to help the women and young girls. And now for the past year, I have men coming out and speaking about it too. And it's not just women being abused, it's also men.
Yes. Yes. That makes a lot of sense. Like, we don't understand as women sometimes how much men go through in a mental health arena, because it's not very much talked about.
Right.
And I mean, like, you just won't. But if I have to reflect back, just knowing different men and things and knowing different people, there are quite a few men that I know of that has gone through some challenges such as that, but they won't speak of it.
They're not going to speak of it.
Yeah. And so therefore they just go through life being angry or dealing with it with drugs or alcohol or whatever else things they have to do to get through it and deal with it. And that's one of the things that's so sad. Like, they need help too.
Absolutely. They do need help. And because they don't come forward to speak on it, there's not as much help for them as it is for women.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So they walk among us.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we get into a relationship and we're like, I don't understand why you're this way. But it's not you. It's the trauma that he is carrying that he's never spoken about.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
so it carries from generation to generation because it's never been dealt with.
Right.
You know, and with women, we're very emotional. We're more to speak to someone, to a girlfriend, and say, you know, this is what I'm going through. Even that conversation is an outage.
Yeah.
You know?
I've even discovered, even with this YouTube channel, it is a women empowerment YouTube channel, and we have 70% men that subscribe.
Wow.
Yes.
That's great.
It surprises me because
thank you, man, for supporting.
Yes, thank you for your support. I mean, honestly, it took me a minute to really understand, like, okay, I'm not making content that is specific to men, but I'm not making content that men can't benefit from.
Exactly.
Yeah, the content that I make, you know, a man out there watching this, you're learning things about the women in your environment, your home, your kids, your spouse, whoever, your mom, and it's helping that man grow maturity wise to help the woman that's with him or near him, support them. And so I'm like, okay, really? Okay. it really sparks something in me. I didn't realize that this was the impact that was happening. So,
but that's good.
I'm really happy that yours is impacting them as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they really need that support and help. So
Nice. Good job.
So is there any resources that are specific to men going through these things?
That's the sad part.
Okay.
So there are limited resources for men. There's a lot of counseling sessions, but unfortunately, like if a woman calls and says, I need to be removed, I'm not safe, we will place them in a hotel room in a heartbeat.
Right.
And then place them in a safe house, which they're all over. So safe homes are all over. We just won't know.
Right.
You won't know that you're probably living beside a safe house. But for men, it's really difficult. Like we can remove them from the situation or tell them if they have somewhere to go for the night.
Okay.
Which is sad.
Well,
it's sad because
we gotta do some work out there. Get you guys some more resources.
Yeah, we have to, and I'm working on that. I do a lot of research, and I have a lot of contacts in Prince William County. So I'm trying really hard to. For the past year, like I said, they're speaking out more, and I'm trying to find out like what can we do for these men. So right now we're working on, and this is sad to say, even if we have meetups with men for counseling, they won't come in a group with other men.
No.
See, us girls will get together and talk about it and be like, girl, I got you, you know, call me whenever. I mean, it's very limited that, you know, what is it? That guy bond is just like, man, she hit you. Like, come on now.
Get over it.
Get over it. Like, you know, but that's the sad part. It's like,
and even
can't get over it. And mentally.
Yeah. Even the sexual abuse with men is viewed as a weakness if there's a young man being taken advantage of by a woman. It's like, oh, she giving it up to you. She, you know, she's showing you that attention. You supposed to want that. Like, but it's terribly like something terrible for guys looking outside, like, you know. It's that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah. But the mental abuse is a lot. I mean, the mental, the verbal abuse, guys get it a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Because we tend to downgrade a man in a quickness.
Yes.
And mess up his ego. And he won't really say too much about it.
Right. So how do you do any speaking with young ladies about how to treat men?
Right. So
You
that's
do?
one of the things I
Okay.
do. The main thing is loving yourself first, knowing your worth, and then treat others the way you want to be treated. Talk to others the way
Golden
you
rule.
want to be spoken to.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're, I don't really want to say dating, because at that age group that I have, I'm like their mother, and I don't be like, you don't need to date. Just don't date. Like, just don't do it. Focus on you, become selfish, you know, do you first, and you know, get your studies out the way, and then he will eventually come in.
Right.
But I always teach them, you know, just because you're a girl does not give it the right for you to put your hands on him.
Right.
Respect him as he should respect you.
That's facts. I mean, honestly, the golden rule, I mean, you learn that in elementary school, at least I did, and it kind of carried on with me the rest of my life.
But women get comfortable because, you know, if they have a good man and he's not, you know, he's not going to hit you.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes they get a little carried away, and I'm like,
and I can only imagine other feisty, sharp-tongued women like myself who just says what's on her mind, because my husband can handle anything. And so I have to like close it sometime and just say, bite your tongue just a little bit.
There is a power to shutting up.
Yes, it is.
There is a great power behind shutting up.
It has taken me till recent to understand that. Yep. Very recent to understand that. It's definitely helpful to just shut up.
Yep. It's hard.
Yes.
But you have to sometimes just,
yeah.
I have to talk to myself and be like, zip it, Maritza. Just, some things are just not necessary to be told. It's just not. So, and is it worth it?
No, it usually is not. Usually 9 times out of 10 is something that was not need to be said. It very well could, you could just be quiet and just let things move
simmer down.
Yeah.
And then at night, when it's just you two, you can say, you know what, babe, what you said to me earlier really offended me, or it made me feel this way. Because if it's at the heat of the moment, it's just going to escalate and no one's hearing each other out.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, that's definitely the facts there. Definitely. That escalation is real, and it happens so quick.
So quick.
Extremely quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where you don't even realize that you go from 0 to 1,000 in like 5.2 seconds. It's just, it's gone.
Absolutely.
And don't let you be on your cycle or anything like that. When any hormonal imbalances, you know, that's even worse. So, sorry, guys.
They're like, TMI, girl. TMI right now.
Yes.
But it's facts. It's facts.
Yeah.
But you know, I think guys have their monthly.
They do.
Period too. I mean, in other ways, it's just from past relationships that I've been in. I've noticed that, okay, he's at alignment here. Let me just step back and leave him alone, because he's in his mood.
And you're right. You're right. That's exactly the case with all guys. They don't even know that they're going through it. Though.
No.
So yeah, if you're extra moody, then you might know that might be your time.
Yeah. Might be your time.
So what would you say is probably the most common like domestic situation that you come across? Is there like a certain like top 3 situations that you come across?
I come across a lot of women that, and this is gonna come as a surprise to you, financial abuse. And the reason why financial abuse is one of my top things is because I stayed because I didn't know how I was gonna make it financially with 3 kids. You know, you're leaving everything behind. So it's just like, okay, I don't have a job, but I'm moving to a new state. I don't have a job, but I have to find a place to live with 3 kids. How are they going to eat? How am I going to provide for them? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to pay the car payment, the car insurance? You know, the cell phone that's always needed to be on, because now you're in this situation that you never know when you're going to need 911. So him knowing that he is the breadwinner, and you can only make it for so long, that you're going to come back anyway.
Right.
That was one of the things that I analyzed a lot.
Wow.
Because I told myself, when I leave, I'm not coming back.
Right.
Because I didn't want him to feel like she'll be back.
Yeah.
You know, and then I come back and everything is better because of the financial, I needed him.
Right.
But I was like, no. I really honestly just closed my eyes and jumped in and said, I'm out. If this is survival mode, if I make it, I make it. If not,
yeah,
you know, I have to make it, you know, and that was my way of living. Like, I have to make it. The financial part is number one. Number two is the verbal abuse, because once he breaks you down, believing that you're nothing without him, or who's going to want you now with 3 kids,
right,
and you only have a high school diploma, even if that's all you have, like, what kind of job are you going to get? Paying job with a high school diploma.
Right.
So he literally knew how to break me down.
Wow. Use all of that against you. That's
right.
sad.
And use it all against me.
Yeah.
So when I left, he still had control over my mind, even though he wasn't even there.
That's
because
deep.
I can hear that. You know, you just went for a job interview. They're not going to call you because you don't have anything to offer.
Wow.
And it was just a constant battle that I had within myself, because I can hear him still telling me things.
Wow.
And this was 3 years gone already. So he still controlled me like that.
That is amazing.
And never spoke to him.
That it took this is such a deep thing because of how long that stronghold can last. And can you just imagine like how much longer that would have taken you had you not gone the path that you've gone to help others, like to work through this? You're working through this every day with the people that you're helping.
Right.
It could have been 20 years past and you're still holding on to the same thing if you didn't take this path.
It took me a really long time.
Yeah.
A really long time. And I had to teach myself how to give myself words of affirmation every day. Like, you're smart. You got this, you know. And even here, you know, shooting the gun, you know, looking at the rifle, I was like, this is really intimidating. And
yep, right there. So a little high.
Right there.
Yep, you're going to put your cheek right here. You're going to sit it like on top. Yep, just like that. Yep. And then you're going to put that little dot in between the leaflet. And it's on fire, so you can fire it.
I can hear still like, you're not going to be able to do that. But I make myself try. You know, I got to show myself, okay, either you do it or you don't. But you have to try because you won't know.
Right.
So, and I had to shift my mind of thinking.
That makes
and once I shifted, it's like, I'm diving in anything. Like, I'm like, okay, you think you can do this? I don't know, but let's try it, you know?
Right.
And that's what I taught my kids. You know, don't tell me you can't do something if you haven't tried it.
Right.
Let's try it once. And not everything is going to be meant for you. So, but at least let's try. At least now you know that's not for you.
Right.
And let's go move on to something else.
There you go. Just like that. Easy.
I can do another one.
Center, dead center. Good.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, when it comes to us trying something new, it's always that bit of like that nervousness. And, you know, even earlier I was like, oh, going live. I've never done that before, but hey, we're going to do it. Let's see how that goes.
Right.
It's one of those things where, yeah, I like to face things head on, regardless if I'm afraid of it, because I don't want anything to like take control of me. I like to be in control of myself. And so that's one of those things where I can only imagine, had I gone through an abusive situation, how that self-confidence would have been damaged.
Right.
Like, because I'm pretty sure who you are now, you were born like that. You're a fighter. You're a survivor. But going through what you went through probably had you on a little setback for a moment until you started to get back to the core who you are.
Exactly.
You know, so I can only see how that is damaging and will continue on a path of damage if you don't deal with it.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's a part of my life that I know, because a lot of people are like, oh, I feel sorry for you. Don't feel sorry for me. Like, don't feel sorry. Don't give me, you know, don't feel bad for me, because I am a strong believer that what I had to go through, I had to go through it firsthand to be who I am today to help someone else. Because I was always, I am that person that if I'm seeking advice on something, I'm going to go to a person that has gone through something.
Right.
If you haven't gone through it, how are you going to advise me to become a millionaire? I'm not going to go to someone who is not a millionaire or is living check by check, or, you know, it's like, I'm going to go to someone who, hey, what is the plan here? How can I get to becoming a millionaire?
Right.
You know, teach me the techniques. How do I begin? What is the, you know, if I have to invest in stocks, what stocks do I need to invest? Like, how can I leave a legacy behind of money for my children? I have to go through the resource.
Yeah.
Right. So
totally
I
see
always
that.
said, you know, everything that I've been through, it was for a purpose.
Yeah.
And now I'm seeing the reasons to why I had to go through that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Here you go.
I can put my hands here.
Yep. Put the front sight post inside that circle. Center it. Take it off. So you're going to click it off safe with your thumb. Press down.
Can't.
Yep. Just like that.
Okay.
And then when you got your sights aligned, go ahead and press.
Right.
Okay. Next. Nice.
That's it.
That's it.
So for Enough Cries, what type of resources, if I was someone going through things, what type of resources would I be able to reach out to Enough Cries for?
So we have resources as to finding a placement for you if you're like not in a safe environment. We'll find a safe place for you. You have to follow procedures and protocols, and you can't really. We have to be sure that you're not going to go back to the abuser. So we're going to have you go through counseling to fix the core.
Yes.
To get to the core of the issue, and then if you need bedding, clothing, food for your family, we also provide.
Okay.
Those.
Okay.
And we'll also make sure that you do continue to a counseling, because with Hispanics and Black communities, I don't know why we don't go to counseling or see a psychiatrist. It's not a bad thing.
No.
I personally, like I said, I went to a counselor, and I'm one of those people, if you have not gone through something, how do you know how I feel?
Right.
You know, and I was being in a session where I felt like she was reading out of a book.
Okay.
Like she memorized the book. And I had to pause her for a second and say, you know, have you ever been sexually assaulted? Have you ever been abused? Have you ever been abandoned by your father and said, because you look like your mother, I disown you?
Wow.
Have you, you know, and I was just throwing things at her, and she's just looking at me like, no. But statistics, and I'm like, then you don't know the struggle that I have every day to wake up and face life.
Yeah.
You know, and make the best of it, because I have to be happy for my children. Like they have to see that side. Like, you know, I can't be miserable and crying all the time. I have to put a front and just pretend to be this happy mom, and life is great, and we're going to eat good today. And even though I'm eating leftover food, but they're eating great, you know, and that was all that mattered to me.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real. Really real.
I always say that, you know, kids don't appreciate their parents until they become a parent themselves. Honestly.
Right.
I really don't think that any of us understood as a kid what it took for our parents to be parents to us. And that even goes to say for those moms or dads who didn't do a good job at parenting, you know, you are able to understand the choices that they've made, even if they weren't good choices, a little bit better by being an adult and especially being a parent.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, definitely circumstantial. Everybody's case is circumstantial, like how much money is coming in or what environment you were raised in and things like that.
Right.
So, yeah, but it just goes to show, you know, we as people have a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
And the golden rule is extremely important.
Exactly.
Extremely important. So when you do have these situations where the police are involved, when you guys do the examination from there, how do you normally deal with the situation after the hospital? Like,
so me personally, my job is to comfort the victim and walk them through it. After that examination is done, the police department will place them in a safe place.
Okay.
And then they have to do court proceedings. Unfortunately, and I say this a lot to the police officers, we do paperwork, right? They always say when you're in a situation, file an order of protection. That order of protection is a piece of paper.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Let's put that in perspective.
It's
just a piece of paper.
Yes.
It's not really stopping anybody from doing anything, really.
No.
This allows you to take action legally after the fact. And the after the fact may actually be
too late.
Too late, yeah.
So that piece of paper is just actually like if I make a report and I say, I'm in danger, it's on file. So if something was to happen to me, they will automatically go to that person that I did the order of protection of. But who's to say in the midst of that transition, I can lose my life? And it has happened right here in Fairfax and Prince William County. A couple of years ago, there was a woman that did an order of protection against her boyfriend, and he came to the house, knocked on the door. She did not look through the peephole, and he had a hammer and instantly hammered her down and killed her with a hammer.
Wow.
But she had an order of protection.
Wow.
So
they make you think, like, does women that are in those situations, do they tend to get firearms or some other kind of self-defense, whether it's like less than lethal? Like, I wonder, do you experience that women want to have those things, or they usually shy away from having those type of
They'll
protection?
shy away from that.
Wow.
They're so confident that that paper is going to do something. And I'm real quick to say, this is just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
This
like
is
I'm
all it
always
is. It's a paper.
I'm always preaching that, we are our first line of defense. Everybody is their first line of defense. Before the police can get to the scene, or any other family member or friend that loves you can get to the scene,
right?
You're there. You have to actually take the steps to notify somebody else that you need help.
Absolutely.
As well. So you have to have some kind of self-defense tools. So I would hope that, going forward, that more women would look at this and say, hey, look, I may be in this unsafe situation. I need to start learning how to defend myself. And I'm not saying that firearms are for everybody.
Right.
That's just my choice. But there are other forms. There's mace. There's knives. There's tasers. There's all types of other things. But anything could be a weapon. Anything. I can literally take a pillow and smother somebody,
right?
Or I can literally, take a water bottle, one of those metal water bottles, and hit somebody upside the head with it. Anything can be a weapon. And so you just need to understand that you are your first line of defense, and you have a life, and you matter, and you should fight for it.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing, coming back to that self-esteem. So women may not feel that their life is a value to fight for.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's so sad. Well, getting off of the heavy stuff, I know that your organization has some events coming up. What events do you have?
I do. I'm excited.
Yes.
This year is my 10th year anniversary.
Woo! 10 years
10
going
years.
strong. Wow.
10 years. And it has been a blessing to serve the DMV. And it's more of a celebration, not just for domestic violence, but the theme this year is called I'm Living Proof. So whatever you're living proof of, and whatever you have just overlived or survived, we're going to celebrate that.
That's beautiful.
And I think that's important for everyone, whatever it is that you've been through, let's just celebrate it and take that into perspective as to you're still here. You made it through.
That's beautiful. So how would any of our audience, if they would like to attend, how would they get tickets?
So it will be posted next week on Eventbrite under Enough Cries. That's CRIE, because I know with my accent, people say prize, and I'm like, it's not prize, it's cries. That's that New York, Puerto Rican accent. But
yeah, we'll put that link in there so people can see.
So it'll be on Eventbrite, or they can tune in, go on my website, and it is enoughcries.org, and the tickets will be sold on there too.
Okay. All right, that works. Is there any other events that we should be aware of?
So I have a podcast that is the first Saturday of every month, and that platform is used for women that are telling their story for the first time. So I encourage them to speak about their trauma
and how did they transform that trauma into something positive.
Yes,
so
I checked it out.
I am really
powerful.
happy about that, because some of them is like, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm like, that's your healing point. That's
Yes.
your healing point. So once you're able and comfortable to talk about what you've been through, I think that's when you're more like willing to help others, because it makes you realize like, hey, I've really been through this, because now you're hearing yourself talking about it, and you can help other people.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I did tune in to your podcast and checked it out, and I was like, this is really good. The fact that someone can go through such a damaging, traumatic thing and can voice this, get it off their chest so that they can deal with it and be able to move on to life, to healthy relationships. That was really powerful to me. I loved every bit of it. Like the fact that, you know, what you guys are doing, what you're doing to help others with that. I mean, I didn't love the stories at all, but
you know what? I enjoy hearing the stories, because I get to take them out for lunch and talk to them. And it's just like, you know, you can be sitting next to someone and you don't know what they've been through.
Nope, not a
And it's
clue.
once they start talking about it, you're just like, wow, you're just like me.
Yeah.
And we made it through. So it's powerful to me to hear stories that women are able to overcome.
Yeah. Well, I definitely am on that side of the fence of, I love to hear that success story, but I don't know that I'm equipped to go through the going through story.
The story,
so
the storyline.
Yes, if that's the case, please know that Mrs. Trouble is not going to be able to help you with that. It's going to be Miss Maritza. I'm going to refer you. So you can reach out to me, that's fine, but Miss Marissa is going to be your point of contact.
There you go.
So, well, that pretty much is going to wrap up what we're going to discuss today as far as this. But I do want to know what advice you would give any young person out there, male or female, if they're going through something right now in some sort of abusive situation. What advice would you have them?
If they have one friend or someone to go to, just reach out to that one person. Sometimes we don't have anybody to reach out to because we're embarrassed to talk about it. But then again, you find resources online.
Yes.
So I'm one of those resources you probably will find online if you Google me. And I'm always open to listen, because I like to listen first and see what you're going through and how I can help.
That's really good. Sometimes,
but don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. You're not the only one. Trust me, you're not the only one that is going through something.
Right. That's
but
true.
Just speak out before it's too late.
Yeah. The too late part, yeah, we can't get that back. We can't get you back.
Right.
So you're needed in this world, regardless of how much you think little of yourself or feel like you don't matter. You're needed, and you affect all the people around you, and you will be missed. So definitely use the resources around you, asking that one person or talking to that one person you know, or reaching out to enough cries to be able to help you with your situation. So thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. I brought you a little gift. I mean, so you can give away.
Oh, okay.
So
nice.
This is my slogan: real men don't hit women.
Love it.
So you got 2 of these.
Nice.
And this one is what I'm wearing. This was last year's slogan, Diamond in the Rough. And I believe that we're all diamonds, but we all have to go through that process to become a diamond.
Love it. And definitely the bedazzle with the diamond. I love it. Anything sparkly.
There you go. That's for you. And I appreciate you having me as a guest, and even teaching me skills of shooting that I didn't even know about.
I'm so happy that you did that. That's my thing.
You're doing great things. You're doing great things. I'm so glad we met.
Yes, I am too. This has really been awesome, like giving me this insight on what it is that you do day to day. I mean, I knew, but I didn't really know. Like now I have a little bit more understanding. And now I'm going to be really keen eyes on like trying to help anybody and bring them to you. Like, please, if you have an issue, just normally I kind of shy away from things like that because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't want to.
But all you have to do is listen.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we, even as an individual, we don't have to be going through domestic violence, but sometimes we don't want to hear what you have to say. We just need somebody to listen to us and allow us to just pour.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because sometimes you don't know what to say and you might say the wrong things, and it's like, why did I even say anything? Because we're really quick to judge as to like, why are you still there?
Right.
You know, oh,
what's holding you there? What's holding you back? And it's just like, all right, why did I even say anything? So just, you know, listen. Again, we go back to the power of shut up.
It is working. I'm learning that thing. I'm telling you, it's like right here. Like, Sheena, don't say nothing right now. Just be quiet. So one of the things that I did find interesting in the media recently was about the situation about Diddy with all these allegations with these women, but the video of him abusing his old girlfriend, dragging her down the hallway, beating her, and things like that. Those type of situations, you know, have you had any situations with women that have had like that type of trauma?
I'm so surprised you asked that question because I remember one night myself being in the corner of, again, I wasn't in the best neighborhood. So there was a lot of action going on there. And I went looking for him. And I got dragged down the street and no one helped.
Wow.
No one helped. I was on the concrete being dragged. I remember just skin just being scraped off and no one helped.
Wow.
And I blamed myself for that because I was like, why did I even go looking for him?
Right.
Like I should have just stayed home because I literally left my kids alone to go looking for a man.
Right.
You know, to where he's about, where he's at, who he's with. And I should have, you know, I blamed myself for that one.
Right.
And we do that a lot. We tend to blame ourselves when things don't work out the way we want it. And we react on emotions without thinking. Right. And then I sit back and I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have gone looking for him because this is the outcome of it.
That's definitely a different way of thinking about it. I mean, honestly, I can see how someone would blame themselves at some point,
right?
You know, and to be honest, it may have been him. The things he had, like, you know, broke you down mentally,
right,
psychologically,
absolutely.
about
but
making you feel that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, you know, it was him under the influence of drugs because I know if he was sober, I wouldn't have gotten that reaction.
Right.
But I think we need to be also mindful as women because we are emotional creatures. Let's just think before we do something, because if they're not in their right state of mind, why are we coming?
Right.
Why are we charging? You know, because we're emotional, we're reacting instead of just waiting and for the right time.
Yeah. And then I think about that situation with that was on the camera with Cassie and Diddy. Was some people in the media, you know, well, she should have just ran away, or, you know, she shouldn't have stayed in that because she was in that relationship for years. And then I had to really reflect and think, like, thinking smartly about that. Like, she may not have been able to just go like you were able to do. She, you know, had loved ones and she cared about her life. I'm sure something was of value for her to stay there.
Something was of value for her to stay.
Yeah. And so sometimes we do sacrifice those other things of peace of mind and safety just so that those other things can be safe.
Right.
So, wow.
And a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Financial.
That's the biggest one. That's the biggest one for marriage.
Right. Financial.
Well, I am going to let you go and we're going to go to our next segment, okay?
Okay.
So stay tuned for Shoot or Shh.
All right, hey everybody, it's Monique. We're here with Maritza, and we're doing our Shoot or Shh segment. So essentially, we're going to ask a round of questions, and Marissa's going to answer them. And if she does not want to answer them, she's going to say shh. She's going to keep that to herself.
Okay.
She's taking it to the grave, guys. She's taking it to the grave. All right, you ready?
Go for it.
All right. First question. Has there ever been a police officer or social worker that gave you a hard time in helping somebody?
No.
They've all been.
We're all in the same team, and we know how it's, you know, the process goes. So we're all willing to help each other out.
That's good.
Especially the county that I'm in, Prince William County. They're very good for that.
Nice. Okay. I've heard really good things about Prince William County in general, like the police officers and stuff like that. So that's good to know. All right. 2, have you had a girl no he didn't moment? Meaning, has there ever been any situation you felt like you wanted to get the offender for yourself?
I'm gonna do shush.
Go ahead.
Shush. I'm going to take that one with me to the grave.
Duly noted. Duly noted. All right. Is there a special song or routine that helps calm you when you deal with a really overwhelming case?
A song?
Or routine or anything that you do in particular that helps you through those harder cases?
I always light up a candle.
Mm-hmm.
And just really listen to contemporary gospel music and really try to take my mind off of dealing with reality and just pretty much get myself in that mode, I guess, of just being thankful that I'm still here. So that's how I deal with my
things.
Or go take a walk near water. Right. I love the water. It tends to calm me down a lot too. Mm-hmm. Just the fact that mentally I can drift as the water is moving. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but the movement of water gets me to that tranquility stage too.
We have that in common because like I like leisurely walks and I like walking by the water, so I can definitely relate. Okay. All right. She took number 2 to the grave, guys.
Yeah. I have to. I have to stand by what I believe, so I'm gonna just play the 5th.
Very well, very well. Well, those are our questions for today. Thank you for playing our game.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
All right, so we're going to continue with shoot or shh.
Okay.
All right. So question number 4. Has there ever been a time when you had to remind yourself why you do this in order to keep going?
No. No.
Very good.
And the reason I say I've never even thought about it is because I found my purpose. And when you find your purpose, you don't question it. You just take it day by day. And just before you know it, years have passed by. Like right now, it's 10 years has passed by and I'm doing this. And I truly wake up knowing what my purpose is in life.
10 years. That's a big deal. Congrats. Congrats on that. All right. So question number 5. Can you share a memorable success story where you, in your efforts, made a significant difference to someone's life, but maybe that person didn't want that help?
Yes, I have had a coworker that was married for many, many years, and without her realizing it, I had my way of speaking to her that I gave her an outlook, a different outlook on where she can be in her life without her realizing that her life would be better off not being in the situation that she was in.
Yeah.
But again, it's because of financial reasons you stay because you don't think you're going to be able to do it. But when you start talking about options and different choices and how you can make it, you know, sometimes we want to live above our means and we just have to just sometimes cut back and live where our income can meet to be able to get through what we need to get through.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Well, you guys heard it first. Shoot or shh.
So I only got one shh.
Yeah, only one. You made it.